Alrighty, folks, welcome to the show. Right, what about in Twitch? Huh. Wow. Now that's interesting. Hang on, let me just have a look at what you just did there, Wayne. Hang on. To the right of my name. Just bear with me just a second, Wayne. Sorry. Something's going on. Hang on. Yeah, camera car. Sorry, Wayne. I will get on with what you're saying just there in just a moment. My bot is telling you to stop Streamlabs. Oh, Streamlabs is getting told off by... I've got a couple of bots that are having an argument. Streamlabs is getting told off by one of my other bots. Hang on. Restream bot is there. Okay, I've got a couple of bots having a tiswas on the chat, so don't worry about the commands just yet. I need to actually let one of my bots become a mod, so just bear with me with that. Top of the show, as always, let me give a quick Patreon shout out to my third tier and above Patreons, Reese, Wayne, Tim, and Chris. Thank you very much. Without you, these shows would never happen. Now, yes, camera quality. I have switched my cameras around. Let me just give you a little bit of a show. Let me just have a look. One of the other cameras I have in the room is of the game show. The ones that I use for gaming with. Is it going to show up? Here we see we have this one still here, which is a... an HD camera, the same one as I usually use. Let me have a look at the overhead camera and see why it's not showing up. Properties. Is it going to... let's have a look, see what's going on here. Is it going to... Ah, there we go. There we are. So you can see that there is the camera that I used to use. On the, just if I point here, this camera here is the camera I used to use for my face. Now that is going to be the game camera for tomorrow night. It's not very good quality. If I bring out over here, it's not fantastic quality, as you can see, but basically what that means, and hopefully my face cam will turn up, there we are. What that means is that basically tomorrow night it's more important that we have really good pictures for the command terminals, because tomorrow night me and Reese at Chick Paints are going to be playing Adeptus Titanicus live tomorrow night from 7 o'clock, and it's quite important that we're going to have the ability to actually excuse me. It means we need to have the ability to have a really good shot of the command terminals, which is where all the action happens on Adeptus Titanicus. Now, the plan is, don't worry about the keywords, Wayne, they won't work, they're not working properly, so don't worry about that. But yes, don't forget, we need to have, what was I going to do? Yeah, we need to have really good quality. Oh yeah, that was it. The overall plan is to have all of the cameras to have this quality, but that's going to be further down the line. So for now, tomorrow night you're going to have two really good looking cameras, and we're going to have the rubbish one showing the table, hopefully. There is a big if that I can get all of this working, and I need to try and figure that out tonight or tomorrow, and hopefully I can get it all working. The better main cam will be great for the Thursday show. This is how it's going to be on Thursdays as well. Yep, on Thursdays you're going to have both this screen, and you're going to have the screen that we do here. It's going to be how it's going to look on Thursday. So yeah, we have had a bit of a switch around and a bit of a change so that we can see all of that. And I am also using my little device on my phone to control which screen you can see at the time. So I better make sure that I get that on charge. So yes, so there's been a lot of shifting around. There has been a lot of changes going on behind the scenes and trying to get all of this working. So yes, feel free to yeah, give me your feedback and let me know exactly what you think is working well. Alright, and yes, like I said, the sound is hitting. I have not had a chance to record myself. Be able to see Eisenhorn now. Actually, to be honest with you, I have no idea. This camera hasn't changed. Let me just make that clear. This camera hasn't changed. So why this is showing up now as opposed to last time, I have no idea. I honestly, I couldn't tell you why it's different, because I haven't changed this camera at all. So thank you very much, Wayne, for sharing everything, and yes, don't forget to share on all of your social media. You can find me on all of the social media as well, but hopefully there will be links in the description below. If not, then I'll just have to live with that for now. But as you can see, over on the far side there, you have Discord. The Discord link isn't showing up. There's all sorts that's not showing up, which is real shame, but there we are. But don't forget, as most people have been doing, don't forget to share all of your pictures with me. Send them to me on any of the social media. If you can find me, just search Bases of Operations on pretty much everything, and you'll probably find me. I pretty much use the same logo on everything, so you can find it. It'll be fantastic if you send your pictures. Let me know what your Instagram is. You can go on my Instagram story and get shown in the show. Right, yeah, I've got some weird hay fevery type thing, so hopefully we're going to be okay for the show. I'm feeling like, you know, my throat's on fire. But all the links are in the description. That's fantastic, and I will change the name of the video before I finish it off, or at least when it's finished. And we can get cracking on with issue number 22 of Conquest. So I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully my voice will hold out, and we will see how it goes. And don't forget, I am currently streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, so there is a little bit less delay on Twitch, but if that's what you want to do, don't forget you can find me over there as well. Meanwhile, we can get on with the show, and I'm looking forward to this. Issue number 22 it has in it has the Astra Granite, not the Astra Granite debris, which is what I keep saying. We will have a look at those two later on and see if I can see any difference. And also we have a new brush, which is a medium base brush. It's quite a nice, reasonably, it's kind of soft, but it's also got quite some spring to it. And it is slightly rounded at the end as a medium base brush. I kind of like the feel of these Citadel brushes, certainly in the hand. You know, the starter brushes don't last very long, but I'm pretty sure they're not meant to. So over the course of some time, I have, if I can find it quick enough, I have been using the Citadel dry brush. It really needs a clean, so it's getting a bit rough. But I have liked it. It's a nice dry brush for large models. We will see how the medium base brush holds up to my painting soon, or over time. So what we'll do is have a quick look at this Astra Granite. I've already opened it up to have a look, and it's a texture paint, which we will no doubt use later on today. And looking at the two, to be honest with you, they're both grit paints. Both of them reasonably the same colour. I think the Astra Granite debris is a little bit lighter. But the main difference between the two is Astra Granite debris, the grit is bigger. So the chunks seem a bit bigger. Let's have a look here. Yeah, they're, well, actually, to be honest with you, they're quite comparable with each other. Not really sure. No, actually, you know what it is the Astra Granite is just a little bit darker than the Astra Granite Debris. That's really what the difference is, I think. They don't seem to feel much different from each other. So, yeah, there we go. So, I think there might be a little bit of a colour difference, perhaps. I have been mixing it together now on my fingers, but yeah, they're pretty much the same paint, to be honest. That's what they seem like. Maybe once I've been working with it a bit, I might notice a difference, but on first inspection, it doesn't look like there's much difference between them, apart from maybe a bit of a colour change. So if anybody was wondering, I'm just going to wipe my fingers off in my water pot. Just bear with me a second. What do we have on here? Something's going on my phone. I don't know what it is. I'll have a look at that in a little while. Alright, so let's have a look, shall we? Let's move this out of the way. Now, with the new paint, it means that we're going to add a little bit of paint, I would imagine, to our Conquest models. So we will do that later on in the episode. I'll drop the magazine, drop the camera, and obviously I'm not going to be taking off the covers and everything. I am going to be keeping this because, like I said last week, I'm going to be keeping these magazines in whole pieces until I get my next folder, because that is going to basically be when I decide what's going to go where. So I've pretty much cleaned my fingers. Let's have a look. So in issue number 22, Battles of the Death Guard, Worlds of the Imperium, and Learn to Base Your Models. I'm kind of hoping this is going to be a bit more interesting than it was last week. And we started off with Space Marine Chapters 1.2, and it looks like it's an introduction into what the Codex Astartes actually is. You'll probably have seen on most of the pictures about whether most of the descriptions of chapters and stuff, whether the chapter is Codex compliant, and this is what it means. So yeah, moving on, deviations among the chapters. Here we go. So we have deviations among the chapters, which means you know, how close are they to basically, how close are they to Ultramarines, really? But the differences in gene seed and training often lead to stark differences between Space Marine chapters over the millennia. Frequent encounters with certain foes, the culture of their recruits, or mutation in their gene seed may change the nature of a chapter. Though it is rare, entire chapters have been undone by the mutation of a single gene seed organ, the corruption of their recruiting stock, unacceptable deviation in their doctrines, or battle with an overwhelming foe. So we got, interestingly, I don't know what the difference is between, I mean, the Ultramarines are 100% Codex compliant because it was Robute Guilliman that actually wrote the Codex. So I'm curious, they haven't chosen, I don't think they've chosen many chapters that deviate much. Let's have a quick look. The Salamanders do not follow the Codex teachings completely. They only have 7 major companies. The Scout Company instead lives in the mountain ranges of the planet and will rejoin their settlement when the training is complete. Well, fair enough. Oh, I see. That they live they live amongst the people rather than in a fortress monastery where most Space Marines live, which is interesting. The Iron Hands, they have a weakness, a hatred for weakness in all forms. and they view that their flesh is a weakness. Has no chapter master and is instead ruled by a council of the 10 company leaders. Well, obviously most will have. So they've chosen some that don't really differ too much within, slight changes. I'm surprised that the Space Wars aren't here, which don't follow it at all. And I do believe they are still legionary size. So we have the Chronicles of Viriliance here. Death Guard Legion number 5. And we have, by the looks of it, a timeline of the Death Guard's fall, and some of the timeline with the Death Guard from M31 on this page, all the way through to M41. And then 40k history number 7 is the Great Crusade. Now again, I mean, I'm surprised at the way that they've done this, because even now I still don't understand that they seem to be doing this kind of backwards and a bit all over the place. So I don't know, we'll see how this reads. But of course the Great Crusade was done by the Emperor to 10,000 years ago, and didn't it? It ended with the Horus Heresy, didn't it? I mean, isn't that what ended the Great Crusade? Excuse me, kind of the Horus Heresy got in its way. So, and there we are, we have a little bit of a snippet about who the Emperor is. And some more factions, 1.2, the Worlds of the Imperium, so I'm sure we've got some more of these. These will probably actually, if I remember rightly, the Worlds of the Imperium was on this page, and this will probably sit right next to it and read on quite nicely, where we have some information about what a mining world is, research stations and fortress worlds, and death worlds. And moving on, feral worlds. Feral worlds contain long, isolated populations that have lost all knowledge of science and technology, reverting to savagery. Huh, that's interesting. Feudal worlds, some worlds have gone back to an early gunpowder technological state. A few of these worlds, such as night worlds, do have an aristocracy with advanced technology. These leaders likely live separate from the planet's population and keep their advanced technology to themselves. Like those from feral and death worlds, people from feudal worlds are good soldiers when trained. Oh, that's interesting actually, I never knew about that. I didn't know. That kind of gives you some scope then to really, you could possibly do some kind of interesting army designs. Obviously maybe not Space Marines, but that's interesting. That's interesting. And then of course we have the most famous of all types of kill at all costs, the Exterminatus. The order to undertake Exterminatus is not one that is given lightly. Of course, for the complete eradication of all life on the planet, such a command can only come from the highest ranks of the Imperium. A Space Marine Chapter Master, Lord High Admiral of the Imperial Navy, Lord Commander of the Astra Militarum, or an Inquisitor. Exterminatus takes many forms. The planet may be purged of all life, or it may be destroyed utterly, becoming a debris field. Wow. So, yeah, we've got to how to paint now already, and we've got 4 pages of fluff, which is obviously is written there. So that's, yeah, fair enough. Alright, so how to paint texture bases. So we'll do this at the same time. You will need a pot of clean water, a piece of tissue or kitchen roll with to dry your brush with, the Citadel medium base brush that you received in this issue, and your pot of Astra Granite texture paint. You can apply texture paint such as Astra Granite straight from the pot. There is no need to thin them with water, otherwise they probably won't work very well. So let's have a quick look at this. Shake the pot of your texture paint before you open it. Dip your brush into the paint in the lid. Be careful not to get too much on the brush. Carefully apply a drop of Astra Granite to the base. using your brush, and then spread the paint across the surface of the base, which is, yeah, fair enough. And yeah, it's just a case of just putting it down on the base. You can use a cocktail stick, and it says on here to work it into the edges. Spread the paint unevenly to give it a rougher look, which is what it says down here. If you've got any texture to the, if you've got anything on the base to give it texture, don't paint over it. Fair enough. Other than that, there's not really any other. Oh, apart from the float stands, you don't really want to be getting. You can get up to the float stand, but you don't want to be getting that on the clear bit. And yeah, essentially, I mean, we're adding some Bugman's glow to the base, so in the slab of the base with Mechanica standard. I'm surprised it hasn't told you to already do that if you're painting it this way. I have no idea, but essentially, you know, you just paint this stuff all over the bases, which we will do. Well, we'll pretty much do it now, but what I want to do first is introduce you to another tool that I do use from Citadel. Works pretty well. Is the Citadel texture spreader, and it has a big flat end and a skinny flat end, which is something else I use when basing. Which is, yeah, pretty good. And so what we can do with this is we're going to use the Astra Granite because that's what it tells us to use. But I'm not going to use my base brush to do this. I use the texture spreader. So I grab some of that on there, throw it down, and then I can move it around with the larger area to get it to spread around. And I can also use the skinny end to push it into the smaller areas where up against the model. And that's basically what I'll do. And you basically just move this stuff around. And I'm doing this now so that I can give myself a short break from talking because my throat is starting to hurt again. I think I've got hay fever. So feel free, throw some comments in the chat and I will get to them shortly. But right now I just want to stop talking for a minute. pretty much done. So you see, I've done that with using the texture spreader, not my brush. It's a personal choice whether you want to do that or not. Use the brush, use a texture spreader, whichever. If you haven't got a texture spreader, use a brush. It works the same. So yeah. Well, I've never used any of the GW texture paint. Once it's dry, can it be painted any other colours? Yes, it can. One thing I will say about texture paint is it takes forever to dry. So do the texture paint last thing at night, and just leave it to dry overnight. You know, don't try and rush your texture paint. It takes forever to dry. But yeah, once it's dry, you can paint over that. It's still acrylic paint. It behaves just like paint does after it's dry. It just means that you can, yeah, you can paint it other colours, including the crackle paint and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's perfectly fine to do that. So yeah, it takes forever to dry, but so yeah, we'll put those there. Move on to a bit towards the end of the show here. We're going into the missions, which is rules mission number 2, supply drop down. I'm not going to reread all of this, but yeah, so it's a mission briefing for the second one, and it's a mission called Seize the Supplies. Seize the Supplies. And so we have scattered by the downed supply ship, vital supply containers line the streets of Corman 2's capital. The Ultramarines and the Death Guard opponents converge on a group of containers, both forces intent on claiming them first, eliminating as many enemies as possible. We have a, you know, it's a, we put some stuff down here, some a container, some crates and some barrels. It gives you the armies that you're going to use, which is just here. Tells you the rules for deployment, and it also tells you your victory conditions, and then you just go for it. I mean, essentially it's really kind of giving you the reins now. It's this, and I mean, this is pretty much how you do missions. It's how you play the game. You know, you've got the board, then you've got the armies, deployment, victory conditions. It looks like setting up your battlefield. I'm pretty sure we had this. I'm pretty sure this is tutorial 21. I don't know if somebody wants to tell me whether 21 was last week as well, about setting up your own battlefield. I have no idea. So I'm not sure, but it's telling you how to set up your own terrain here. It's telling you that you don't have to use the side with the printed terrain. You can flip it over and place your own terrain down, and that you can stack your containers up. They don't have to be on their own. You can create interesting effects and build things up and down. You know, they're just you know, be careful not to knock them over when you play, but you know, they don't have to be one container on and that's it. You can put one and then put one next to it and then stack one on top and make all sorts of pretty shapes and stuff. And if you've got plenty of them, you can also glue them that way as well. So you can build diorama type terrain, and big buildings and stuff. You can plonk them straight down and just play around the building. It's no problem, as long as everybody's happy about it. Using additional terrain, instead of placing terrain on the blank side of the map, you can place it on the other side. This requires a bit more thought, as the board is already covered with printed terrain. Here is how you use both the printed terrain and your terrain kits in the same game, which is nice. It's kind of, you know, it's showing you the, you know, you can put as much or a little terrain down as you want. Usually it tends to mean the more terrain the better. And this is interesting. We're going straight into mission number 3. There's no replay. It's mission number 3. Defend the spoils of war. And it's telling you, again, it's giving you the battlefield. It's telling you you know, what you've got here. It does seem to go on from the first mission with the victory. Whoever victors depends on who's who. But you have, again, the armies, the deployment, and the victory conditions. It's that simple. It's different from last week, you think. I'm pretty sure it did tell you how to put terrain down, though. So it is kind of leading on from last week. And there we are. That's the end of this issue. Next week we've got the some more terrain, which is some battlefield accessories. So some more barrels, some crates that are open, and some traps. Some, are these called caltrops? Tank traps. Anyway, a pallet, a jerry can, and a container of some description. And that's it. And then in 2 weeks' time we start on the Dreadnought. So I'm looking forward to that one. So that's issue number 22. I'm not sure. I mean, how do we feel about this one? I'm going to slow down talking now and let you guys give me your opinions on what we've just seen. But what do we think? Is it any good? I thought it was alright. Well, I'm just going to take a drink and just slow me talking down a little bit. But does anybody have anything to say, anything to ask? Anything to mention about the way that the stream is tonight? I know that the sound is a little bit terrible. I'm going to work on that, hopefully. In fact, I might even do a little private stream or a test stream at some point to work out where that hiss is coming from and do it live so that we can narrow it down and get rid of it. Does anybody have anything to mention? I think I'm pretty much. I think I'm pretty much done for this show. We kind of got to the end of that one really quickly, actually. To be fair, there's not really anything else to say about the issue. It was all right. We got some texture paint. We got these guys getting done. I don't know if that. I don't even know if that's gonna. Not even sure if these will. Get into focus. Let's have a look. There we are. It's not much there, to be fair. Can't really see a lot. It's okay. Low on fluff, high on rolls, etc. I was surprised they did a picture of every mini to base. Why not show an example and save the page for something else? I agree with you. I mean, you see, the thing is, I mean, this is the thing. It's kind of a case of you look at what you've got here. Put it down. Let's just bring this up again. It's kind of, yeah, it's kind of every single person has got, you know, apply it. What information have you got? This is it. This is good information. This is good information. Yeah, and the rest, yeah, I agree. It's kind of, and then not only that, you've then got also for all of the Death Guard models. I'm surprised that you haven't already done this bit. If you have, then fair enough. But yeah, it is. Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, this page will be good, you know, just show this page off, but yeah, I agree with it. Kind of a bit weird. Message retracted, I'm not sure what that is about. There are 3 or 4 pages no needed, and the other pages for fluff. Missions or rules. Yeah, I agree with it. Totally agree with you on that one. Yeah. Alright, so I think we're going to end the show there. My throat's a bit sore anyway. As usual, I seem to be suffering for a lot of health complaints these days, but we'll get back to it. Alright, but yeah, I will be back on, when will I be back? I'll be back tomorrow, which will be the Tuesday live show. Whoops. That was meant to happen. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with the live show with Reese playing Adeptus Titanicus, which is I'm really interested in doing. I can't wait to get that done. Me and Reese had a little bit of a show, not a little bit of a show, sorry, a little bit of a game last week. Off camera, so we can get to learn some of the rules. As usual, it's not a battle report type game. We're just playing around with it. The keywords still don't work, Wayne. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll have to figure that one out at some point. Maybe in a test stream I'll do that. But yeah, playing Adeptus Titanicus tomorrow. Again, hopefully my throat, it just feels like it's on fire. It's ridiculous. Yeah, hopefully that'll be better tomorrow. And I'm also working on, I will also be back on Thursday to do some more of Eisenhorn, and maybe I'll get some more blending done. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, Underdog, Wayne, Chris, thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure. And anybody who watches this in the future, do not forget to check out the links below where you can find me all over social media. So I look forward to seeing from you. I've been getting a few messages from people. Don't forget to check out the Discord, which is down there. We also have lots of chats in there. And should you be willing, the Patreon link is below as well. Other than that, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for watching this one. I'll catch you in the next one, alright? Go up.